Hey, what is going on, guys? It's Arya back again. In this video, we're going to take a closer look at the new Gauntlet mode on Classified called DEFCON 5. I already reviewed the 9 and the Voyage Gauntlet. If you want to check them out, the link will be in the description down below. And with all that being said, let's get right into this. I think it's safe to say that at this point, we all know how the Gauntlet mode works. There are 30 rounds, 1 challenge per round, and you have 3 lives. Complete the challenges and you win. Pretty simple and pretty straightforward. Before we get into the challenges, let me just say that I think Gauntlet mode overall has been improving. We started with Voyage, which was kinda hard and it wasn't that much fun, and some of the challenges were pretty bad. Then we got 9, which is the easiest Gauntlet so far, but it had a lot of the same challenges as the one on Voyage. They just copied and pasted a bunch of challenges from the Voyage Gauntlet. But on Classified, that's not a problem anymore, at least not as much. Most of the challenges felt fresh and they didn't feel like they were recycled. There are area-specific defense missions, same as the other 2 gauntlets. In this map, they present themselves every 5 rounds starting from round 10, so we have defense missions on round 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30. They're okay, they're defense missions, and they don't feel that repetitive because in every map you have to go with a different strategy, so they somehow manage to stay refreshing with every map. I think it's been established by now that alongside defense missions, every map is going to have their own weapon-specific challenge. This is when you'll be forced into using a certain starting weapon to go through an entire round. There's one during the first 10 rounds, one in the second 10 rounds, and another one in the last 10 rounds somewhere towards the end. For example, on Voyage of Despair, we had the SX Model 07 challenge, and on 9, we had the MOG 12 challenge, and on Classified, we have the Rk7 Garrison, which I am completely fine with. Anything that's not the Model 07 I can tolerate because that gun is a real tragedy. The Rk7 challenges are on round 4, 16, and 27, and the only one that is somewhat difficult is the one on round 27. The rest are easy as long as you train in the main offices area and you have your shield right there on the buildable bench, and if you're really struggling, you can always use Victorious Tortoise since it makes training in that area a lot easier. One thing that was really noticeable about this gauntlet is that in comparison to the other 2 gauntlets, the first 10 rounds on this one was a lot more difficult and it was a lot more intense. The first 10 rounds on Voyage and 9 were relatively simple and they were kind of fillers. You would use those first 10 rounds to get set up, and alongside that every now and then you had to do small tasks here and there. But in this map, there are actually challenges. Starting from round 1, your health is going to start depleting by the second and you have to kill zombies to regenerate your health. So right from the get-go, the game is trying to rush you into killing zombies as fast as you can, so you can't really be messing around just because it's round 1. The challenge for round 2 is kinda random. You can only use elixirs and attack while sliding, which is fine, but one thing I should mention is that if you open the main offices area, hellhounds will start spawning in and it's pretty much impossible to kill those hellhounds while you're sliding, because they're fast and you're gonna keep bumping into them and they're gonna kill your momentum and they're not gonna allow you to slide. So the best course of action is to wait until round 4 to open up the main offices area. The round 3 challenge is another one that's kinda random. You cannot use elixirs or attack unless you're standing next to one of these flagpoles. It's kind of weird, but I think there's a reason for it, which I'll get into in a bit. Then on round 4, we have the standard Rk7 Garrison only challenge. Then on round 5, we have one of the more interesting ones in this gauntlet, which is moving causes damage. And it's not just a little bit of damage, you take a pretty good amount of damage even if you move for a little bit. You can turn left or right or look up and down, but you cannot take a step. If you do, you'll take damage, and for a round 5 challenge, it's kind of intense. There were moments when I actually started running in the middle of that round simply because for years as a zombies player, anytime a zombie has gotten close, my instinct has always been to, well, get away and try to get out of dodge. But here, the game forces you to suppress those instincts and go against what you've learned to do all these years. Then on round 6, we have a dog round, and your objective is to turn on the power. The first 6 rounds are kind of interesting because it seems like the challenges are designed to keep you upstairs until round 6, and then make you rush out of there as fast as you can. Because think about it, on round 2, you don't want to open up the main offices because you can't kill the dogs while sliding. On round 3, you have to stand next to these flagpoles and get kills. On round 4, you have to use the Rk7 Garrison, which is upstairs, and on round 5, you cannot cannot move at all. So that's why the pacing of the gauntlet feels challenging in the beginning rounds, because the game manipulates you into staying in the main offices for 5 rounds, and then in the next round you have to rush out of there and go turn on the power. Now, I don't know for sure if this was done on purpose or if it's just by coincidence. Either way, the early rounds here are a lot better designed. And that feeling of the game kind of rushing you and pushing you around doesn't really stop. It just kind of keeps going. Right after you turn on the power on round 6, on round 7, all the zombies are going to be sprinting, so you're going to have to stay sharp. Now, I'm going to briefly go over some of the challenges that I felt were either fun or well designed. On round 9, you have to complete the round with a limited number of hits across all players, so you can only get hit a few times before you completely fail the challenge. The limit for solo is 2 hits, so again, this is another example of the game keeping you on your toes. On round 11, if you stay in the Nova Gas, you'll lose points. That's another good one. On round 14, you're not going to have health regeneration, so you're going to have to be careful and not get hit. It's very similar to the challenge on round 9, but if you play co-op, the one on round 9 is actually a lot more difficult, because not only can you not get hit, you also have to protect your teammates as well. On round 19, you have to use a teleporter every 30 seconds, otherwise you're gonna start taking damage. And this one is kind of intense because you still have to kill zombies and finish the round, and at the same time, you have to run from one teleporter to another, because if you don't, you're gonna go down. Then on round 22, if you have over 5,000 points, you're gonna start taking damage. So you have to somehow spend as many points as possible to keep your points below 5,000. I failed this one on my first attempt because I was saving up points to pack-a-punch my second weapon, and when I got this challenge, I couldn't get rid of my points fast enough, so I eventually went down. On round 24, the enemies do double damage, and it's a dog round, and it can kind of get crazy, so make sure you have a full specialist meter on that round. On round 26, you have 2 minutes to finish the round, which is yet another example of the game kind of forcing you to move and kill zombies as fast as you can. Now, let's go over some of the challenges I wasn't quite fond of. On round 12, you have to use 10 teleporters, so you basically have to use every single teleporter before the round ends. And it kind of ruins the flow and the pacing of the gauntlet, because you go from running around and killing zombies as fast as you can to doing pretty much a fetch quest. Speaking of which, on round 13, you have to hunt down the mystery box and open it. You're gonna get a teddy bear, it's gonna move to a different location on the map, and you're gonna have to find it and do the same thing again. You have to do this for a total of 6 times, and this is by far the worst challenge in this gauntlet, because it takes so long. You just have to wait for the mystery box to respawn, then look at one of the monitors to see where it is, and then go and open it. It's terrible, and it just takes you out of the experience. Now, moving on to the next challenge, this might be a little bit of a nitpick, but on round 17, the description says, make 5 unique wall buys. And the first time I read it, I was kind of confused. I was like, how do I make unique wall buys? This is not buried. We don't actually make the wall buys. But it turns out all you have to do is buy 5 different wall buys, which is kind of underwhelming for a challenge on round 17. It feels kind of out of place. On round 18, you have to get 55 trap kills and survive for 5 minutes and 55 seconds. This is kind of like the 9-minute round challenge on 9. It's just a play on numbers. They probably couldn't come up with anything, and since Classified is a remake of 5, well, how about you get 55 trap kills and survive for 5 minutes and 55 seconds, because, well, challenge. Honestly, I don't know what they were thinking. I just don't like the survive for a certain amount of time challenges. I kind of want to finish the round as fast as I can, as opposed to being forced into doing nothing but killing zombies for 6 minutes straight. But at least here, they included the trap kills to battle the inevitable redundancy. Overall, in terms of difficulty, this gauntlet was easier than Voyage, but harder than 9, but in terms of quality, I think it's a tie between this one and 9. Even though 9 had a lot of the same challenges as the Unsinkable, I think those challenges just worked better on 9. So for me, it's going to be a tie between DEFCON 5 and 9, and Voyage is going to be the last. What do you guys think about the new Gauntlet mode on Classified? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Leave your thoughts on the comment section down below. I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to drop a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.